AI is more of a job creator, job displacer, right? It's not taking jobs away. What it's really doing, it's actually creating additional jobs that are running in parallel with AI. It's almost like, I would tell you, like, think about the auto industry, okay? When the car first came around, all of a sudden now it displaced a bunch of people that were driving the horse-drawn carriages. So that sort of went away, but it created a whole new industry with many, many jobs around that, with auto mechanics, garages, OEM manufacturers, people making tires. So there's so much more to come from AI. It's going to create additional jobs, and it's really meant to work alongside the human as opposed to being something that's going to take away from it.
Welcome to YanaTV. Today we will have a conversation about future of work in Southeast Asia and the buzz around the AI and how it is going to contribute to the workplace. Our very special guest is Judd Sanchez, who is CEO and managing partner of YCP Digital Transformation, an advisory firm which is focusing on iPad. AI, this is such a exciting and scary for many people conversation. And I'm glad we are having it today.
It's interesting though, but AI is not that, everyone thinks of it as some sort of a villain. Like
people do.
You're right, like the Skynet villain in the Terminator movies. But it's not like that. Actually, I think the way to think about AI, it's more of I would say a helpful tool, a powerful tool that humans can use to get rid of all those tasks that they don't want to do. It actually enables them to be able to focus on the things that they want to spend time on more, like problem solving, being more creative, those bad.
What about the fear that people have? And rightfully so, we could say, because there are many examples in business right now where a company already laying off a lot of people because AI comes on board, and then they just think that they're going to be replaced by AI.
AI is more of a job creator, job displacer, right? It's not taking jobs away. What it's really doing, it's actually creating additional jobs that are running in parallel with AI. It's almost like, I would tell you, like, think about the auto industry, okay? When the car first came around, all of a sudden now it displaced a bunch of people that were driving the horse-drawn carriages. So that sort of went away, but it created a whole new industry with many, many jobs around that, with auto mechanics, garages, OEM manufacturers, people making tires. So there's so much more to come from AI. It's going to create additional jobs, and it's really meant to work alongside the human as opposed to being something that's going to take away from it.
And just to continue maybe on this question, for people who are actually worried about their jobs right now, so what advice would you give them?
I would say, first of all, embrace AI. Artificial intelligence is here. You might as well take advantage and learn. I would say invest in continuous learning. Look at those jobs that work alongside AI, and those types of things are things that involve the human touch. All right, so work that involves creativity, jobs that involve being empathetic, leadership jobs. All right, so key things would be sales, user experience design, project management. I would invest time and resources into getting up to speed in that so that you can work along AI, which is not going anywhere.
Clearly, it is expanding more and more right now. And since we are focusing here on Asia, on YanaTV, I'm curious, how do you feel AI will impact specifically maybe Southeast Asia in the workplace?
Well, it's a global phenomenon, right? Like, I would say, if you want to talk about Asia or even Singapore, consider Singapore right now and how we work with the food delivery. Food delivery is an integral part of everyday life here in Singapore, right? Behind all that, AI has totally revolutionized that whole industry. Take, for example, imagine if you were to order a meal, like you're ordering a delicious meal on one of your food delivery apps, right? Working behind the scenes is an AI algorithm that's making sure that, one, they're looking at the real-time traffic patterns. They're looking at the weather conditions. They're looking at driver availability. All of that's being done to make sure that you have a seamless experience as a customer and get your food in an optimum amount of time, right? If you didn't have AI, you'd be eating cold food.
Well, I'm glad we do have an AI. I love my hot pizzas, so that's for sure. Small businesses, how do you feel AI is impacting small businesses? Again, maybe specifically in this part of the world. And is it helping or not?
They're leveraging AI to optimize their operational processes, right? So they're getting rid of redundant processes, things that are very time consuming or tedious, turning that over to AI, and now they're able to focus on things to help grow their business. They're also looking at things like customer buying behavior, so they can come up with more personal strategies on how to address individual customer buying. It's a great way to level the playing field so that smaller businesses can compete on bigger scale.
When we talk about business, I mean, of course, business owners always focus on the cost and profit, right? This is the foundation of business. And again, medium-sized business, big-sized business, it's a certain budgets which are being allocated to different things. And if we put AI as a category where money is allocated, I'm just kind of wondering for small businesses, like, do you think it is cost effective to invest in AI? Okay, I want to grow my business, so what should I focus on?
Sure. I think the important thing there is that it's all about investing at your pace. So when you look at AI or digital transformation, it's a whole ocean out there that you could boil. Firms like us, so YCP, what we would do, for example, is we would come in and we would do an AI readiness assessment. We take a look at your current state of your business, help identify the technology that best fits your company and your objectives. But then we'll also put in place a dashboard or system so that you can monitor the success of those digital initiatives, of those operational improvements that AI is making, to make sure you're getting a good return on your investment. I think that's how even smaller companies can win and scale their business to compete with bigger players.
I love that. Now that you describe this, I feel, well, every company should use the services of digital, advisory like you guys are doing and actually get on board, because as you said, probably within maybe next, we could say 2-3 years, AI will entirely change the workplace and the way how things are done.
Yes, definitely. There's so many changes happening in terms of AI and how it's changing the future workforce. Humans will be collaborating seamlessly with AI, right? Working hand in hand, so that AI is essentially doing all the things that we may not want to do, so that we can now focus on the things that we enjoy, the parts of the job that involve the human touch, things that involve creativity, innovation, empathy.
Well, when it comes to the interviews and talk shows, I don't think a robot can do this. So I feel relatively safe in this place. But then, as you said, human touch, human connection. But then there are certain things, could be optimized on a post-production. And I look at how things were like 8 years ago when we were doing it, and how much more expensive and lengthy the post-production process was. It is much shorter and much more affordable right now. So I definitely can see the benefits, how AI is working, and I just hope that humans can embrace it in the best way possible. Probably it was like at the beginning of the internet, right? When some people liked it, some people didn't like it, but now eventually we are all in internet, whether we like it or not. So eventually AI will be part of our life, whether we like it or not. And so what do you think for people, everyone else, how can we get ready to it already?
I think the best way to do it is really just one, like we said before, it's just to embrace it. It's here. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to proliferate more, and there's going to be more AI. There's going to be more uses of it. Get that knowledge that's going to be required to be able to work along AI so that you maintain your value, right? It's not going to displace workers. It'll eliminate jobs that are redundant, mundane, just time consuming, and allow you to focus on the things that you really want to focus on. I think that's the best part of AI. So long story short, invest in understanding AI, look for ways that you can work alongside it, become a data scientist. There's programs now where you can become a data scientist in like 6 months.
Wow. Children. And I know you're father to 2 kids, right? You have 2 boys.
Twin boys, 7 years old, Tristan and Reagan.
Beautiful. So when you look at the next generation and kids, and maybe especially with AI conversation, so they are now growing up with the AI. So what do you see there happening for them and the way how they perceive the world?
This is like the iPad, the device generation. I mean, my boys, they pick up an iPad and they just know naturally how to work it. It's like so intuitive for them. I think the important part for kids is like, one is technology is going to be there, right? It's better to embrace it and figure out how to work alongside it rather than to pretend like all these advancements we've had over the last 20 years don't exist. So for my kids, they've got device time. Obviously, we're still limiting how much time they can use on devices, but it's good for them to learn how to operate and how to maneuver on these devices, right? I wouldn't want that to be something for them that is foreign.
If I may ask, from what age did you actually give them devices that you felt that they should start learning?
Well, that's more recent. Literally probably just over the last year.
Okay, and they're 7, right? So it's about basically when you go to school, and now you get computer pretty much when you go to school, and at the same time, it's now kids are learning about AI from the day one. So it kind of comes together with the education.
Before that, it should just be all about play and being a kid.
I love that. Which then brings me to the conversation about you as a kid, because I know a little bit about your story, and I just would like you to share with us here that you are not from Singapore. Is it correct? So you were born in...
I was born in Hawaii, but my dad was in the Navy, so we moved to Italy. So I was in Naples, Italy until I was about 12 years old. And then I moved back to the US, went to university I went to the Air Force Academy, and then lived in Los Angeles for about 15 years before I moved out to Singapore.
And your parents are originally from?
They're originally from the Philippines.
Okay, so from Philippines to Hawaii, and then Europe, and then US, and then back to Asia. I'm also curious about your entire a military upbringing. Tell me.
Well, one, the travel. Travel's great. Meet lots of new people. My dad was in the Navy. He was part of NATO, so that's why we were in Naples. Got to meet lots of interesting people, both locals and people from all over the world. And then just moving around, I thought that was great. You always get a fresh start. It was a nice way to reinvent yourself. You attend a school and you do something wrong, and you're like, now you're that guy that peed his pants or whatever it is. But you can learn from these things. Then again, you move to your next location, you're like, yeah, I remember those guys. They did some cool stuff. I'm going to do that instead. And I think that those experiences, I'll take that with me everywhere. I find it very easy to make friends because I'm not so set in that one piece. But at the same time, on the friends topic, I don't have friends, I have family. Right? So the friends that I made, very, very close people. And even before, Facebook and MySpace and all those things came around, all of the friends I made throughout the world, I'm still very, very close. And that's, I think, an important part as well, is you learn to value good people and you learn to value the friendships. So that's kind of defined who I am.
What kind of qualities do you feel that your upbringing developed in you, especially because of the military background and also the diversity of people and moving around?
A lot of things. I think for one, it was difficult growing up in the US as an Asian kid, right? So that was very different.
Because?
Okay, so growing up, I was 12 years in Italy. And actually, I didn't know that I was different.
You didn't realize you were not Italian.
I didn't know. I thought that everyone just kind of were the same. Like coloring just wasn't a thing. And then I moved to the US, and one of my first days there, like someone called me a name, and I was like, okay, I've never heard that before. So I just went about my business, went home, I talked to my dad and said, hey, Dad, this kid in class called me this name. And he's like, oh, that's not a good kid. You go back and you punch him in the face. I was like, okay, well, Dad knows.
Dad knows what to do, right?
Right? And so I went back, and I'm not supporting violence of any sort, but I did go back to class. The kid did it again, punched him in the face, and then I became the hero to all the other kids. So bullying is a big topic. I think it's a disgusting thing, but sometimes you need people to step up and do the right thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you were growing up in US, and so as an Asian kid, and I guess maybe with the bullying and discrimination that comes along the way that I think people experience, and then you have to develop this resilience and figure out who you are. And then what happened?
Well, as part of that is you also you find very, very good people. Right? And then that's what I kind of held on to. It's like those friendships that I've had and I made during that time. I'm still friends with these guys now. Right? There's good people all over the world. You're always going to find these issues. There's racism. There's all of these things. But you don't have to embrace that. You can embrace the other part.
It feels to me that you really know how to build friendships and relationships.
Yeah.
And what is the advice to people to build this solid friendship?
I don't expect anything from my friends other than loyalty, which I gigged out, right? I mean, it's really not.
How do we define loyalty?
Well, there's a couple of different ones, right? Like I've got some friends that they're the ones who they know where the bodies are buried. And then the other thing is just, being respectful, right? Or being loyal to a friend means that, there's not a lot of, you support them in whatever it is that they need, right? I think just being there for someone in that way will demonstrate, how strong a friend you can be. I mean, those are the kind of people that I want in my life.
I love that.
Yes, sir.
Why did you come to Asia?
Well, I actually came here kicking and screaming. So I moved out here. I was with a company called I was living in Los Angeles, living an amazing life. It had nothing to do with coming to Asia, had nothing to do with Singapore. It's just that Los Angeles was amazing and I didn't want to leave. So I came out, they said, you need to come out there and you need to stay for at least 2 years. So I came out, I stayed 2 years and it was time to go back. I'm like, I would like to extend for another year, right?
And why? Why was that?
It's there's a couple of reasons. One, I came into Singapore at a time when a lot of expats dropped in. What's very unique about that is people who are expats they sort of have this type A personality. I find myself here in 2008 with a bunch of like-minded people. And it was just very easy to make friends, right? And when you're out here, your friends here become your family because your family is, hundreds of thousands of miles away, right? So I thought that part was amazing. And I really enjoyed being in Singapore because of that. So for me, that was one thing that changed. It was very easy to travel. I mean, back in the day, they sent you these emails saying, hey, you can go to Phuket for $15, right? So, your friends get together, you just jump on a plane. And because everyone is here right at the time without families, we would just jump on a plane, go somewhere in Southeast Asia, have a great time, come back to a very safe and clean Singapore, which I love. And, and then I had my kids, right? I got married, had kids here, and there is no place in the world I would rather raise my children. In Singapore, I don't have to worry about my children. I don't have to worry about, are they safe? If I turn quickly to look at something at a store, is someone going to grab it? I don't have to deal with that. It's not no crime here. It's very, very low crime, though. And when it comes to kids, it's like the safest place you could possibly be to raise your kids.
May I ask you, so your partner, she's from the mother of your children?
My ex-wife, the mother of my children, is from KL.
Okay.
But she's British Thai.
Okay, so they're mixed kids. There's a third generation of just mixed children culturally. Right. And so how do you feel is that going for them? Do they identify as Thai, British, Filipino, Singaporean?
Yeah, my kids identify as Singaporean.
Okay.
Right? Like anyone asks them where they're from, like even what's your nationality, they're like Singaporean.
Okay.
They're so hardcore. They don't even want to live anywhere else. All right. But that being said, they're Eurasian.
Uh-huh.
I think this is a great place to grow up as a Eurasian kid as well, because you have exposure to everything. You have exposure to Asians. You have exposure to Europeans, everything, American. I feel that Singapore is probably even a better melting pot than the United States.
I would agree with you on that. Right. With the diversity, that everything what is happening right here.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you feel that you want to be staying for a longer time for your children to grow up here fully?
Oh, I'm not going anywhere. Singapore is home for me, right? Like I said, it's a great place to raise my kids. They've got so many friends here. My friends here are, like I said, they're my family.
So Western trade, Asian looking, coming back to Asia. How was your reintegration back into Asia?
Well, I've never lived in Asia. I've only come to visit. I have a lot of family in the Philippines. But I think the beauty of Asia is once you show up and you start talking to people and you mention that you're from the US or wherever, I feel very welcome, because it almost seems like everyone wants me to be, oh, so you're half Korean, or you're actually Japanese, or you're any of the Southeast Asia countries. I always felt very welcome.
Uh-huh.
Right? And especially in the Philippines, when I would go back there and start when I was working in the Philippines, they're very, very open, right? And as soon as they find out that it's called a balikbayan, you're someone that came back.
Wow, that's such a great word.
But it's nice, because I just found a lot of the Asians very, very welcoming, right? So I enjoyed it. And so for me, I don't see why I would want to go back to the US. Even what I'm doing here.
With AI, right? I mean, with the business. Yeah.
Right. So many people, doing it there. Here, there's a lot of people that are very skilled in AI here, but here it's like the Wild West. It's such an open frontier for all of these new things and new changes that I think it's a great place to invest my time.
When it comes to business, again, being Asian who was fully educated and grew up in the West and then came back to Asia, how was that from the business perspective?
From the business perspective, I thought good as well, right? Because I think it helps to hear all of these ideas and these new technological advances, all of these things that are coming from someone with an Asian background. Right. It doesn't mean I know it better, but I'm very empathetic to, their culture. And that was a big part of it too. I think coming here and learning about the different cultures and how to interact with the different cultures, that's made me a better leader. So for me, the whole expat working in Asia, it's fantastic. I think the only warning I would give is just be very careful in terms of how you receive your business cards. Hey, you need to look at it, spend a little time checking it out, and then you can put it away, right? So it's those little nuances, I think, that are very interesting about working here.
Have you had challenges in your life?
Yeah, but I wouldn't say challenges from a work perspective. I think all I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to balance a very successful and exciting career in digital strategy with my new firm, with being a father of twin boys. Right? But also Singapore allows for that, right? I'm lucky enough to have a helper with certain aspects of watching my kids if I'm in a meeting, right? The fact that now it's very remote and you can do a lot of calls from home, that's definitely very helpful. I feel that living in Singapore, operating in Asia Pacific, allows me to be more than I could have been as a father in the US.
Absolutely. I mean, I hear it from many parents and single parents in Singapore that actually they feel they can be better parents because there's help available. Yes. So you can spend more quality time and at the same time also pursue career, which is very important for both men and women, right? Since we're on this parenting again and children, and so when you look at your boys, what's one value do you feel that you absolutely want to imprint in them?
Honor above all else. Really not. I went to the Air Force Academy, so for me, it's part of who I am. I just want to instill that in my boys and make sure that they grow up as honorable men, happy,
honorable men.
Just do the right thing, right? I teach them to do the right thing even when no one's looking, because everyone tries to do the right thing when
everyone is looking at you. Yes.
And when you're you receive an extra $10 back by accident,
and you give it back. Yeah.
Right. It's those little things that I feel define who you are.
When you look at yourself and perhaps maybe your younger self, let's say roll 20, 30 years ago, that guy, exactly. Is there anything you would like to say to him?
I would let him know that in 2016, he's going to have his whole life changed because he's going to have 2 amazing kids. And literally
I can feel that.
I went my whole adult dating career, just, always focused on having a good time, just about me and my friend. And I did not realize that you could love another person that much. And it's been truly amazing.
Thank you so much.
I got the tears.
No, I got the tears, exactly. So you see, you're very, very deeply feeling man. I know quite a few people, especially I think maybe in Singapore and in Asia, guys, who are very much into their career and they just kind of fly around. They're high flyers, right? So it's all about a lot of money, power, traveling, dating, and they feel that they don't want to settle because they like their freedom. What would you like to say to them?
No, honestly, I say live your best life, right? If that's what you're about, I say do it, right? Do whatever makes you happy. What makes me happy is spending time with my kids, all right? So it doesn't mean the rest of it's not important, all right? I have fun going out just like anybody else. But if I can have a chance to spend a night with my kids, I'd rather do that.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I think it was an amazing conversation, very human and very deep. And I appreciate your vulnerability and honesty and honor. So thank you for that. And I think you boys are lucky to have you. So thank you for joining. And that was Judd Sanchez on YanaTV today. And we would love to hear from you guys. Do we have any parents, single parents? Do we have people who are in the AI space? How do you feel about it? Are you developing? So let us know in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And of course, remember, subscribe to our channel, share this episode with a friend. And we are very grateful to Muse Studio for hosting YanaTV. I'm going to be seeing you next time. I know you can write PhD now in what they say 1 year instead of 5 years. Someone just told me. So because AI helps you apparently to do all the research.